Hey guys, welcome to this vlog. Well, it's not a vlog actually. Today is my 30th birthday. It is November the 27th. Today is Wednesday, and I have a different video for you guys. So, I had wanted to record this video for y'all before now, but the wait time been set up for me, it wasn't going to happen. So, here we are, the day of my birthday, recording a birthday video for y'all to upload today for y'all. So I don't even know what I'm going to title this yet, but I got 30 things before 30. So I'm going to say that these are 30 things that I hit or realized or recognized or wish I knew before I hit 30. And hey, if you're new here, my name is Shakila. Welcome to the channel. Over here we do life in Christ and nobody other than Christ. If Christ isn't involved, then we aren't either. If I look to the side, it's because I'm looking at my phone. I'm recording on my DJI, and I'm trying this new low light thingy on here, so I can't see it on the camera, so I have to see on my phone. So if I keep looking over, it's just me trying to see if y'all still look good. And yeah, we still look the same. So yeah, my name is Shakila, and this is our 30 things before 30 video. So if you don't know, I'm a Christian content creator. I dedicated my life to Christ about 2 years ago, and that was the best thing I could have done for myself. I wish I had done it sooner, but I didn't. And I mean, that just goes to show that God can come and He can get you, He can save you, and He can turn your life around anytime. So yeah, all glory to God. Everything I have is because of God. I recently moved, and I never thought I would have moved. I knew I wanted to, but He was kicking me out, so I had to go ahead. But yeah, the first thing on our list, these are our 30 questions. I have 28, but I might be able to think of 3 more by the time the video ends. So yeah, the first thing we have is I wish I knew God the way I know Him now much sooner. And that is being because when I was when we younger, we are told by God, but like after you get older, it's up to you. Like it's really not reinforced in your life as much, and you get to making your own decisions, doing things in life your own way, and being grown and just being out here. And I didn't take God as seriously as I do now back then. Like I knew of Him, but I really didn't know Him, if that makes sense. And it wasn't until He started to change things in me, and I didn't know at the time that it was Him changing things in me. I was like, well, maybe I'm just getting older and not liking those things. But once things started to change, I started wanting to do more things for Him. And then I dedicated my life to Him about 2 years ago, and my life has just been changing so much. And the way I know Him now is so amazing, to really experience His grace and to have a relationship of my own with Him and to know Him for myself is so amazing. And I wish I had done that sooner, but hey, it's never too late to give your life to God. Like I'm 30 years old. I gave Him my life when I was 28. Yeah, 28, 27, something like that. So it's never too late to give your life to Christ. And like I'm really reaping the benefits of giving it to Him. And that's not like tangible things, like having peace, being brought from depression, not being as worried as I used to be. So yeah, that's number 1. Number 2 is I wish I knew the expenses of not being forgiving. Like I was the type to always hold a grudge. You did something to me, forget you. And now that I gave my life to Christ and I'm in His Word, and I'm reading, and me holding a grudge against somebody who's done something to me is just as worse as the person and what they did to me. Me not forgiving them is saying, okay, God forgave you for a whole lot of stuff that you shouldn't have done, that you know was wrong, and you know that you wouldn't forgive somebody else for, but at the same time, you can't forgive somebody else for doing something to you. You have to get the same grace you want to receive. And you're not going to be forgiven by God if you don't forgive those who have harmed you. And I know it's hard and it takes time. Because I'm still praying to God now to take some things off my heart. I'm not saying that I'm perfect, but I can see now, like, yeah, you need to let up off of that. And a lot of things I have let go of, and it has made a lot of things a whole lot better. So take it from me. If you're not a forgiving person, you can't be forgiven if you aren't forgiven. It reminds me of the story in the Bible where the guy's debt was canceled, but somebody owed him, so he was out acting a fool, threatening the man and trying to get his money back. And the judge and the king ended up coming to him saying, so you out here tormenting this guy for the same debt that I just canceled for you. So now you finna pay for your debt because you're not giving him the same grace that I have given you. Just like with God, he forgive us for so many things that people don't even know about. But we out here not holding stuff against people and not forgiving them. And God has given us so much more grace than we deserve. So yeah. Number 3, I wish would have placed God ahead of everything sooner. And you know how like everybody always say, God is the head of my life. I put him ahead of everything I do. But do you truly? Do you truly put God ahead of everything in your life? Like I will always used to say, we always say God is the head of my life, giving honor to God who's the head before we say everything. But do you truly put God ahead of your life? To truly put God ahead of everything, you have to be like, okay, I can't make this decision without God. I want to do this or I want to get this, but I need to see what God say about it. And I feel like a lot of times what makes us not want to put God ahead of everything is because we don't want to wait. Sometimes God is going to give you the answer right then that you want. And you want to know then, us being humans, we want everything to happen right then and there. But with God, it takes time. Like if you need to get that thing right then and there, he will tell you right then and there. But sometimes it don't come like that. And I feel like that's what makes a lot of us not want to put us. And we feel like we can figure everything out on our own when we can't. And then when something go left, that's when we want to add God in the situation. Like, yeah, I should have got God's guidance on this from the beginning, but now I wanted to be grown and think I could do all this stuff on my own when I really couldn't. So yeah, put God ahead of everything. Like now I don't do nothing without asking God, and I'm not just saying it to say that like I'm dead serious for real this time. So yeah, be sure to put God ahead of everything. Number 4, I now thank my mom for the no's. Like growing up, you used to want to do stuff, want to go certain places, hang with certain people, and your parents would tell you no. And us being kids, we would take it to heart like, oh, you just don't want me to do this. You don't want me to have a life. You don't want me to do such and such, when in reality, our parents were just saving us the whole time, because now I know that certain situations she didn't want me in, it was for the benefit of myself. Like if I had went ahead or she had let me do the things that I was asking her to do, ain't no telling what I'd be doing. Probably been dead, because sometimes stuff happens. It don't be me meant for you. Sometimes wrong. You ever heard of like wrong place, wrong time, wrong crowd, wrong person? A lot of times when stuff happened to people, it was meant for somebody else, and they were just in the wrong place at the wrong time. And now I know that she was just saving me from those things. The sun is really playing with me. I need to scoot up a little bit. But yeah, I really see now that she was just trying to save me from a lot of things, and I thank her for the note. Number 5, placing my peace and emotions in God's hands. A lot of times we do things and we look for peace and hope and joy and all this stuff, and we try to find it in people and tangible things. And I quickly learned that if I continue to seek the things that I wanted from man or from tangible things, and not saying man like a man, saying man as in person, because in the Bible, man means everybody. But if I continue to seek those things from a person or from things, I will continue to be disappointed, because with the things, yeah, it'll bring me relief for a little while, but after a certain amount of time, I would have to keep doing those things over and over, or like after time, I would get tired of doing those things because it wasn't really bringing me true peace. And once you place your peace in a human, it's bound to be disappointment in it, because we are unstable as beings, and a lot of times we don't realize that. And to place our peace in somebody is putting us to our own detriment. But only God can give you true peace, true love, true happiness, fulfill those voids. And I realized that a lot of voids I was missing, it was because I didn't have God in my life at all the way he was supposed to be. So yeah, I truly understand now that only God can give you the true peace and love that you're looking for. And like now I no longer even seek them from other things, because like when I was sad or depressed, I would go buy stuff then I'll be mad because I done spent my money and then I'm still back unhappy. But now I see that God is the only one who can bring me eternal and true peace. Number 6 would be being steady and happy during your singleness. Like, I ain't gonna lie, I've been single my whole life. I'm 30 years old. Never had a boyfriend. So the thing, a lot of times, I would look at other people and was like, dang, when is my time coming? I want that. I'm tired of being by myself, but I see now that this is the time when God works on you the most. Like, he turns you into who you truly need to be, and he teaches you how to love yourself first, because if you're not loving yourself and you don't love God, how could you expect somebody else to come in and you be able to love them and fulfill them? And like, maybe God has to work on you and some things before he can send you the person you need, because at the state in your life right now, you're probably gonna mess it up and kind of hinder it, because you're not in the mind space, the spiritual space. Your heart isn't in the right place yet for you to be able to even handle who God is sending you. So yeah, just be patient in your singleness. Coming from a 30-year-old single, I'm out here with y'all. It's gonna be okay. Okay? So yeah, just be patient. God is working on you. He's turning you into the woman or the man that you need to be. And a lot of times God has to mold you into your potential before he reaches that person. Because sometimes, when you get in relationships and you get married, your main focus isn't on yourself anymore. You have to consider that person. And if you have kids, you have to think about your kids and all that stuff. So he has to bring your potential out before he occupies you with all those other things. And to a note for those who feel like God has sent them their person, once he sends you your person, please do not forget about him. A lot of times after we get the things that God wants us to have, we tend to forget about him. So yeah, don't put him on the back burner once you've gotten what you want. Remember him the way you remember him, and praised him and worshiped him before he gave it to you. Don't just wait until the thing goes sour and you want him in your situation again. So yeah, be okay in your singleness. Number 7, God takes you out of your comfort zone. A lot of people want to ask God to put them in their potential or lead them to their purpose. And a lot of times we don't like it because it's not going to be comfortable. I can tell you that right now. Because this right here is not within my comfort zone. Never in a million years will I have thought I would be talking in front of a camera to people about the Lord. Cause I don't even talk to people, honestly. Like, a lot of people tell you, like, I'm quiet, I'm reserved, I'm to myself. And for me to be on here doing this, and then now speaking on panels, having events, that is way out of my comfort zone. So be ready. You keep asking God to show you what you need to do and place you where he wants you to be placed at. And once you get uncomfortable, don't get scared. Because I'm telling you, he's going to put you in some uncomfortable places. But yeah, that was number 7. Number 8, the amount of people whose relationships with Christ aren't as they seem. Y'all, not to talk about nobody, but when I gave my life to Christ and started reading his word for myself and seeing the duties of Christians and how we should fulfill his word and how we should show God that we truly believe in him. Once I started figuring all this stuff out for myself and started reading for myself and seeing this stuff for myself, I realized that a lot of people were not that persuade a Christian image or a lifestyle, weren't actually living by God's word. Like, they were far from it. And it's, I don't want to say amazing, but it's crazy, because half of the people that I thought were really, on fire for God were like preachers and Christian leaders and all kinds of things. And after I found God for myself, I quickly realized that wasn't the case. Like, all these people, it's just a facade with a lot of people. They want you to think they're living for Christ, but they're really not. And a lot of us can't recognize that because we don't read our word and read and have a relationship with God for ourselves, so we don't have discernment to even know these things. Number 9, tangible things aren't the important things. Like, a lot of times we feel like things of the world are what's important in life, and after giving my life to Christ, I really realized that it's not. And a lot of people go to Christ for tangible things. Like, when we first give our life to Christ, we want him to bless us with his money, We want him to bless us with the cars and clothes and shoes and either lifestyle when that's not what God really wants to give you. Yeah, he wants you to have nice things here while you're on earth to be able to live and survive, but he wants you to have peace, love, happiness, a true relationship with him, not to be depressed and like being content. And it's crazy because I used to be one of those people that were like, man, I need to have this certain amount of money in my bank account, but God quickly has shown me like money isn't everything. Like you got what you need and you got enough to go to the next time. So why is you over here stressing trying to have this and that, wearing yourself out when that isn't even the important thing. The most important thing is, living your life to get to heaven. Because when we die, we get the judgment after all this stuff. We make it to heaven. Can't none of this stuff that we have here on earth go with us. Nothing. Not even your body. It is left behind. So yeah, the tangible things aren't the important thing. Okay, guys. 10, God's timing. I kind of talked about this already with another question that we just talked about how we don't want to put God ahead of everything because his time isn't our timing. But yeah, God's time is always the best time. Like we want these things. Just think about it. If you pray for a new house or a raise on your job or this new car or whatever, but at the moment you don't even appreciate the things you have that he's already given you. Like you already have a house, you already have a car, you already have a good position at your job, but you're thinking about the next thing because of the next person, or you think that you need to have this status to make yourself seem successful, but that's not the case. A lot of time, and then we don't even be ready for what God asks us for. Like you asking God for this raise on your job, but you got a habit with spending money. He give you the raise, you'll never even see it because you don't know how to manage your money. You're gonna waste it and not even know, like, dang, God has given me all of this, but I'm so wasteful and I'm not good with my money. I can't manage it till he gave me the blessing and I'm just blowing it. And that's the thing, like when God blesses us with these things, we have to know how to steward it right. We can't just be out here, doing God's blessing any kind of way. You have to know how to steward it. And a lot of times with an example I can use for school, like when I got through with LPN school, I wanted to go right back to nursing school for RN, but it was like 5 years later that I went back to nursing school. And it wasn't that I went, because like I was applying and everybody was denying me. It was always an issue. So it was after I gave my life to Christ and I was like, okay, God, whenever you want me to go back to school, I'll go whenever it's your time. And I kid you not, like the next time it was time to get accepted into school or like to apply, that's when I was accepted into school. And y'all, when I tell y'all God provided for me that whole time, when I'm telling you, like I couldn't even work hardly and I had enough money to eat. We had to stay in hotels. I had my portion for the hotel room. And like it wasn't a struggle, and it's because I waited on his time and he placed me where I needed to be so he can provide for me and have people around me to help me, you know what I'm saying? And it was crazy. Like I was like, ain't no way. And I know nursing school is hard. It has its ups and its downs, but at the same time, like I had to say this was the easiest process, one of the easiest processes of my life, like with nursing school, because I gave it to God and I let him lead me. Number 11, fruits of the spirit. After reading the fruits of the spirit being love, patience, forgiveness, kindness, all that stuff, I realized I lacked a lot of them because I'm not patient. I just told y'all I'm working on forgiveness. So like I'm not perfect. A lot of people like to be that Christian influencer who portrays themselves to be perfect. I'm not finna sit here and tell y'all that I'm perfect because I'm not. Okay? I'm human. I'm still learning. I'm working within Christ, but I'm just trying to show y'all like an honest journey. But yeah, you have to be a part of Christ. You have to embed the fruits of the spirit because that's how half of the time other people come to you. And I watched the sermon the other day and it talked about how the fruits aren't for you because I was telling my Bible study group how I was feeling sad that day and I didn't want to do nothing. I was tired and my body was at its limits or whatever, but we at the same time I was discipling to people and they was like, yeah, that's just about that sermon that we watched because your fruits aren't for you. Even though you're going through things, you still have to display God. God was tired. He went through a whole lot of stuff, but he still was there for his people, and we have to do the same thing. And you can't be out here bearing bitter fruit. I just watched in a no, I didn't just watch. I did a panel the other day, and it was about the fruits of the spirit. For one of my questions, the answer was about the fruits of the spirit, and it was crazy because you know how God tells us to be fruitful and go multiply, and a lot of people feel like that means to have kids when He's telling you to multiply His people, make disciples, and all that stuff. And it was another scripture that said that I am the vine and my Father is the gardener. And whatever branches don't bear fruit, He cut them off. And those that bear fruit, He prune them so they can produce good quality fruit. And I looked up what prune means, and prune means to, take the fruit through a process so it can bear even more fruit. It needs to strip it of everything that it don't need. So yeah, God is going to strip you of things once you give your life to Him, because you have to be the fruit to show people. Because like they passing by, they don't want to see hatred, somebody mean mugging them, talking about them under their breath. They want somebody to be kind, loving, peaceful, help them, show them nice things. You know what I'm saying? So the fruits of the Spirit is like really deep. And we probably will talk about that one day on the channel. Number 12, God's grace. After giving my life to Christ and living for Him, I really see how much grace He has given me for like dying for me and forgiving me for some of the things I've done. Like I said, I'm not perfect. I'm human. I'm human just like everybody else. And for God to forgive me for the things that I've done is so amazing. Like, even though I ain't no sin is, I'm not even say that because no sin is greater than any other sin. And for Him to forgive me for the things that I have done, and like for things, we sin and don't even know it, God has forgiven us for those things if you ask for forgiveness. And His grace is so amazing, because think about if He treated us like we treat other people when they do something wrong. We just cut them off, throw them to the side, talk about them, and feel like they don't deserve anything else in life. What if God was to do us the same way? We ain't never thought about it like that, have we? But yeah, think about it. If we weren't to give the people the grace that God gave us for the things we've done, how do you think that would work out? What if God treated us the same way? Number 13 is surrendering. I told y'all I surrendered my life about 2 years ago and gave my life to Christ, and it was amazing. I remember I was getting ready for work. It's a video on my YouTube if you want to see it. I was getting ready for work, and it's like I just felt something come over me, and I couldn't resist it. So I was like, okay, God, I know this you. Like, I can tell that it was God. So I instantly was like, okay, God, I know that this is you, and I give my life to you. Whatever you want me to do, here, I lay my life on the line. And after I said that, y'all, it's like something even stronger came over me. And I'm standing up there getting ready for work, just crying. And I don't even know, like, it wasn't a sad cry, it was a happy cry. And He led me to read in Luke where the angels came to tell the people that Jesus was being born. And when the angel came down, the people were scared, and He told them not to be afraid because a new thing had been born. And to me, He was telling me He knew that it was going to be like a new journey, and not to be afraid because me and Him had a new relationship between us had been born, and that He had me, and it was a good thing, and not to be afraid. I'm telling y'all, like, the best thing I could have done for my life was surrender it to Christ. And that's despite of all the hardships and things that I went through since giving my life to Christ, because giving your life to Christ does not make it easier. And I think that's what a lot of us think, like when you give your life to Christ, it's going to get super easy. No, you're an even bigger target then, because once you give your life to Christ, the enemy no longer has you. Now he has to fight for you again. You forgot about that part, right? Then you have to get molded by God and, pruned of things that no longer serve you any purpose. So then you have to go through that. So I'm here to warn you. It's a great journey, but it's not an easy journey. It has its ups and its downs, just like everything. He tells us suffering is inevitable in His word. So just be aware. Don't let that take you away from Christ. You can't say you didn't know and you get through something and gave your life up. Gave your life up. You can't say you didn't know and gave your journey up with Christ after you start experiencing things. Because if you watch this video, I just told you. So now you know, okay? Okay. Number 14, knowing God for myself. Like a lot of times growing up, we know of God, but we don't know him for ourselves because we really don't have a relationship. We're really not, told to read our word. We're just told the do's and the don'ts and go on about it. You know what I'm saying? But after giving my life to Christ and experiencing things and seeing the things that he brought me from and the grace that he had gave to me, I began to really know him for myself and know him as the father that I didn't have. And to know that he loved me the way he do is so amazing. Like, he came down in human form. He went through all this suffering from sins that people committed to die on the cross to be for us so we could be forgiven and given a new life. And we still out here acting chaotic. Like we just don't care. Like he ain't did nothing for us. And that is crazy. And it's crazy because I was one of the people who was out here living extremely worldly. Like God hadn't did nothing for me, but I'm saying my prayers every night, praying and saying this and that, and saying God got me. And I'm out here treating him like a ugly duckling or something. You know what I'm saying? But now that I know him for myself, it is so crazy and it hurt for like doing him like that. And I think it's in Isaiah where Isaiah truly saw like his heart was turned like, how can I put this? When he gave his life to Christ and he really seen the sin of the world and his heart began to hurt like God's. And that's how I am in this current state now. Is like I knowing God for myself and knowing his heart and knowing the things he wants for us and what he has done for us, to see the sin of the world and to see how people treat him and how people don't think he's serious. It really hurts my heart. And that hurts God's heart. And like sin really, really, really hurts my heart. It does. Because, like once you give your life to Christ, your heart is supposed to be made like his if you're truly seeking him and you're truly in his word. And for me to now do that is like I hurt for him. I see why he cried, why he mourned, why he wants to get rid of mankind so many times, but he gave us another chance after chance and we're still taking advantage of it. It is beyond ruthless. And I pray that everybody can get themselves together before it's too late. Because once it's too late, it's too late. It ain't that nobody can do about it because we had all the chance we want. And I'm just getting extra comfortable, huh? But that's okay. It's a sit-down video. Not reacting to everything. Number 15. So we got 15 more questions to go. Number 15 would be not reacting to everything. I used to be the person, if somebody says something about me, oh, it's my time to act up. I am about to cut loose. Like, even though I ain't never got to fighting, but I was slick with this mouth. Like, if you said something about me, I had to come back for you 10 times worse. You know what I'm saying? And now I've learned that our reactions are spiritual. And some people being used by the enemy and they don't even know it. And now me knowing that, I'm like, okay, you can't react because them doing that, they don't know they being used. The enemy is using them to try to make you get out of character so they can be like, oh, she don't follow God like she do. We have to learn not to be so reactive to things. A lot of situations that happen with God, he wouldn't even answer. He'll just stay quiet. And we need to learn to be quiet sometimes, okay? Number 16, discipline. I've had to learn discipline with a lot of things. And that's with life, period. Like following Christ takes a lot of discipline because a lot of things you used to do, you're not going to be doing anymore. You ain't going to be out here spazzing out and doing all that kind of stuff no more. You ain't going to be going here and there or sacrificing your dignity in certain crowds or doing all these things. I had to learn it a whole lot. And now it's not even like discipline anymore. It's kind of like I just don't want to do those things. You know what I'm saying? And I had to learn too, like I couldn't sacrifice what I knew of God for certain people. Like things I knew God had taken me away from, I would give it a certain excuse around certain people. Like, oh, well, they still, listen to this and do that. So I'll play this because they here. No. God is the same, forever the same. So I'm the same I am with God, and by myself I'm the same around everybody else. You know what I'm saying? Number 17, not to question what others have. And at the same time, they can be like comparison. Comparison is the thief of joy, and it tells you that in the word. And it's crazy because we look and we're like, okay, I'm living my life right. I'm doing what God wants me to do. I'm doing all these things, but I still don't have the things I feel like I should have right now. How that person getting it, what they got? They doing this. They don't go do this. They don't read their Bible. They don't acknowledge God, but they got everything that I want. And a lot of times we have to realize that sometimes when God blesses with somebody else, that don't mean He ain't gonna bless you with it. It's just not your time yet. That's not what God wants for you right now. And we need to learn to be patient and not compare ourselves to others, because that's just showing God you're ungrateful for what He has already given you. And secondly, we don't even know how these people get the stuff that they have. The devil can give people things too. And you need to be cautious of that. And cautious of what you ask for, okay? Dealing with regrets. I had to learn that regrets were lessons. I done did it. It's over with. God never forgave me for a while. I can't forgive myself. So don't look. I mean, I know we have a lot of things in life that we've done, and we're like, okay, I hate I did that. I shouldn't have never did that. But at the same time, sometimes if a lot of that stuff hadn't have happened, you would have never learned the lesson that you need to go to the next level. And my brother had to bring it to my attention one time, because I was blaming everything. And I was thinking about all the stuff I had done. And I was like, dang, and he was like, maybe you had to learn from that. And I was like, yeah, you're right. Because if I didn't go through it, I wouldn't be able to appreciate some of the stuff that God has brought me through right now. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't be able to manage some of the stuff that He has given me to manage right now if I had never experienced some of the things that I've experienced before. So yeah, don't let your regrets keep you from going further, because if you keep pondering on the mistakes of the past, you'll never see the brightness of your future. Number 19, my current place in life, I would say I'm at a happy place in life. I feel like after giving my life to God, it's been a roller coaster. Dealing with a lot of stuff, but at the same time, now that I'm giving my life to Christ, even though I go through things, I'm still grateful for the things that I've experienced, I went through. Like even the bad things, I thank God for those too, because in His word it tells us that we should count suffering as pure joy, because on the other end is something great. So I've learned to, even through my suffering, and even through your suffering, and I'm saying this to me too, don't forget about God. And when things are great, because when life is good, we tend to be like, okay, I got this, I'm doing good, life going good, I'm doing right. But at the same time, it's God that has you doing good. And we forget to even thank or talk to Him. But as soon as something go left in life, we on our knees crying. You know what I'm saying? We have to thank Him even in the bad times. But right now in life, I feel like I'm doing really good with my mental and this eyelash again. I'm doing good with my mental and, with living for God. And even though I have my hiccups sometimes that I have to pray about, I still feel like life is going good. I have a job. I have somewhere to lay my head. I can feed myself. I got soap and rags to bathe with. So life is going really good. Number 20, my current mental state, I would say right now, y'all know I used to deal with depression really, really bad, and I would say these past couple years has been very good for me mentally. Even though, some days we have our time, and when my cycle come on, I get really moody, and then I start to think about stuff, but at the same time, it's my cycle, it's my hormones, and aside of that, we still gonna have days sometimes. I'm not gonna say I'm 100% every day, but how I used to be, I'm no longer like that. I used to wake up and cry. I'd be hard asleep, wake up to start my day, and time I open my eyes, I was crying. Excuse me. And I haven't experienced that in a long time, and I'm so thankful to God. I don't just sit in my thoughts anymore. I used to be one to just sit in my thoughts, and I don't do that anymore. So yeah, right now I would say this is the healthiest my mental state has been, and I am extremely thankful for that. And I wanted to say too, a lot of people, depression and all that stuff, anxiety is a taboo, and especially in the Black community. And in the Christian community too, kind of, people can be like, oh, that's just a demon. You need to pray. But I forgot who it was in the Bible. They were depressed and stressed out and going through so much and sad. And God didn't tell them to, do anything. He didn't tell them to pray to him. He didn't tell them to go read your word, or you just ain't doing this hard enough. He told them to simply lay down and get some rest. And he played some music for them to soothe them, to take them out of their misery. And I feel like sometimes that's what we need. Not to say you don't need to read your word to feel better, because it might be a scripture that's talking about what you're going through. And not to say you don't need to pray hard, but I'm saying sometimes we need to give each other grace. And I feel like and with Christians, I feel like it's just so easy to say pray. It's so easy to say just get in your word, but you really need somebody to be there and lay there with you through that sometimes. And like God did with that man, he just told him to lay down, take a rest, and somebody played the violin or something for him to soothe him of his misery. And I feel like we need to be that for somebody sometimes. Number 21, my current focus in life right now would be to continue to serve God and do whatever it is that he wants me to do. I'm at the point in life that I don't want to do nothing that God doesn't want me to do. And I'm not trying to do anything or have anything that he doesn't want for me. So my main focus right now is to continue walking in his footsteps and in his shadow, and to let him guide me into the things that it is that he wants me to do. Number 22, my health. I would say my health is great right now. I know the past couple of vlogs that I was having a hard time, but this past week has been a great week for me, and despite of my cycle being on. Other than that, everything's fine. I'm so blessed and thankful that God is able to, bring me out of those type of things, and we're claiming healing over here. So yeah, I think right now my health is okay. Well, number 23, I kind of talked about that with another one, with grieving for Christ. Like where I talked about how, once you give your life to him, you begin to hate sin, and you begin to be able to see the sins of the world and the hurt that you've been causing God, and the hurt that the world is causing, and your heart begins to grieve. And it's so crazy, like you can see certain things and it just makes you sad, because you're like, God doesn't like this at all, and we're down here doing this kind of stuff. We need to, think about him and pay more attention to him and focus on him. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I've learned to it isn't even a learned habit. It's because once you give your life to Christ, you're made more like him, and you begin to hate the things that he hates. And for all the stuff to be going on in the world, it really grieves you, because it grieves God. We're not going to have 30 questions. So you know what? It's not going to be 30 things before 30. It's just going to be chit chat at 30. I don't know. We'll think of something, because I don't even know what that question means. 25. I got change in habits. Once you give your life to Christ, some habits are going to change. A lot of stuff I was doing was of the world. So once I gave my life to Christ, I no longer desired to do those things anymore. And it's a fight against flesh every day, not to want to be able to do those things, especially like if you see other people still doing them. And that's why too, like, he will strip you of those people who, once you and those people once amped each other up in those things, or like, condone those things in each other, and place you with people who gonna be like, no, sister, that ain't what we doing over here on this side. You know what I'm saying? And he gonna strip you of those things. Like, I used to smoke, I used to drink, I used to be in the club, and it's like he just took the desire of all those things away from me. And it was crazy, because I was like, dang, I went from doing this stuff every day, every weekend, to hating it. You know what I'm saying? And it's amazing how God would take things that aren't of him from you. And that's it. I feel like that's if you're serious about him, for those things to happen, because you have a lot of us that still claim to be of God and have changed, but we still do the things that he's trying to take us away from. And I know that takes time sometimes, but you have to be willing, and you have to be serious and like, okay, God, yeah, I'm going to let you take these things away. You know what I'm saying? Having community on your walk. Yeah, y'all, I think this is going to be the last question. Community is very important within your Christian walk. I feel like people who don't want community and don't want Christian friends are those who don't want accountability. As long as you're doing your walk on your own, you don't have no one to correct you. If you do something wrong, you don't have no one to be like, hey friend. You know what I'm saying? You don't have nobody to give you that corrective criticism. And you just feel like you out here doing what you want, but God sees you. He sees the things you're doing that you're not supposed to be doing, and he's going to get you for those things. And at the same time, community is very important, because when you're going through those hard times, that warfare started hitting you, you losing your mind, you don't know what to do, you have somebody to talk to who has experienced it or is going through it, and y'all can get each other through it. Yeah, you have God, but I'm telling you, to have someone here in the physical is so important. And like, y'all can do stuff together, have Bible study together. Because on my journey for like the first year and a half, I was by myself, and it was hard. And I feel like if I had like either discipleship or friends, not saying that it would have been easier, but I would have had somebody to talk to about it. I wouldn't just had all that stuff bundled up inside and just journaling about it all the time, talking to God about it. I would have had somebody face to face that I could have talked about this stuff with, who would have understood me. You know what I'm saying? And it's crazy to now have a community who really prays for you and talks to you and is there for you. Like, we talk every day, and like sometimes stuff go on, we don't even tell each other, but God will drop an inkling in the other person, and they'll send you something you need to see. And I'm like, dang, that's crazy. And that's how you know it's a godly friendship. I think I talked about that on the road, for the word for the road. But yeah, I pray that everybody finds their community, a good Christian community. And I pray that you have discernment to know that that's the community that you need to be a part of, in the church also. But yeah, y'all, these are all the questions I have, because I could not think of 30 questions. How many questions were there? 23, 24, 26, 25. We were short 5 questions, but that's okay. If y'all like this type of video, let me know. I try to do like the cozy vibes, but unfortunately, the sun has been playing with me the entire time. The tag on my blind is trying to show on my forehead. Now the video over, it ain't doing it no more. Okay. But yeah, I want to thank you guys for watching this video. Wish me a happy 30th birthday. If you want me to do more videos like this where we just sit and chat and, you know, talk about God and our journeys and change and growing within Him, I would love to do that. So yeah, thanks for subscribing to my channel, supporting my channel, and being a part of the CL gang. It is much appreciated. I love y'all, and I will see y'all in the next vlog.